If you eat at these 7 popular Canadian restaurant chains, you might be putting your health at serious risk. We investigated major chains operating across Canada, from their supply chain sources to the ingredients they use and the sanitary conditions of their kitchens, to find the 7 worst offenders you're better off completely avoiding. What we uncovered will change the way you look at eating out in Canada forever. Starting with the place Canadians trust most, Tim Hortons. Walk into any Tim's and you'll see a menu promising fresh baked goods and quality coffee. That's the brand promise. Well, here's the reality. Your donut isn't made in store anymore. It arrives frozen from a Brantford, Ontario facility operated by Cuisine de France, then gets thawed and finished in store. That always fresh slogan? It died when Tim Hortons abandoned in-store baking in 2003. Former employees call the back room the defrost station, not a bakery. But the frozen pastries are just the beginning. In July 2023, a Tim Hortons in Napanee, Ontario made national headlines when health inspectors discovered a rodent infestation so severe they ordered the restaurant closed immediately. The inspection report, obtained through Freedom of Information requests, revealed mouse droppings found throughout the food preparation area, droppings near coffee brewing equipment, evidence of rodent activity in the storage room where baked goods were kept, and gnaw marks on food packaging. Think about that for a moment. The coffee you grabbed on your morning commute might have been brewed mere feet from rodent droppings. One customer who visited the day before closure said, "I noticed a strange smell near the muffin display but assumed it was just cleaning products." Now I know it was an infestation. Former Tim Hortons workers have blown the whistle on what really happens behind the counter. One employee from a Greater Toronto area location confessed online, "Soup arrives in bags. We heat it in hot water. The chili sits in the same pot all day, sometimes for 2 days if we don't sell enough. We just add new chili on top of old chili. Management says it's fine as long as we keep it hot. That's not fine. Health Canada guidelines state that prepared foods should not be held for more than 4 hours at serving temperature before being discarded. But multiple employees across different provinces have confirmed the practice of extending food life to reduce waste and cut costs. And then there's the coffee controversy. After Restaurant Brands International acquired Tim Hortons, customers across Canada began complaining that the coffee tasted different, weaker, more bitter blind taste tests confirmed what loyal customers suspected. The blend had changed. Tim Hortons denied it, but former employees revealed that brewing temperatures were lowered and hold times extended to save money on coffee waste. One particularly disturbing incident occurred at a Tim Hortons in London, Ontario, when a customer found a dead fly baked into their muffin. They posted the photo online, and it went viral within hours. Tim Hortons offered a refund, but no explanation for how a fly ended up sealed inside baked goods that supposedly come from a controlled factory environment. When the most Canadian brand in existence can't keep rodents out of the pastry area, extends soup life beyond safety limits, and changes the coffee formula while denying it, you're not getting what you're paying for. You're getting whatever survives cost-cutting measures dressed up in nostalgia. Now let's talk about Boston Pizza, a Canadian institution with over 380 locations nationwide. They market themselves as the place for sports, pizza, and family dining. But recent investigations reveal a chain struggling with quality control and food safety. In 2023, a Boston Pizza location in Winnipeg failed a routine health inspection so badly that Manitoba Health shut down the kitchen temporarily. The inspection report documented black mold growing on ice machine components, food stored at improper temperatures in walk-in coolers, pizza dough left uncovered at room temperature overnight, and grease buildup so thick on kitchen surfaces that inspectors noted it as a fire hazard. The restaurant was forced to undergo a complete deep clean and staff retraining before reopening. But here's what should concern you. This location had passed inspections just 6 months earlier with a satisfactory rating. Either conditions deteriorated catastrophically fast, or previous inspections missed obvious problems. Former Boston Pizza Kitchen staff have described a chaotic environment where speed trumps safety. One cook from a British Columbia location said, "During hockey nights, we're slammed, pizzas go out half-cooked because the ovens can't keep up. We just blast them on high heat for less time. The cheese would be melted, but the center was still cold. Nobody checks. They just want it out." Undercooked pizza isn't just a quality issue, it's a safety risk. Raw dough can harbor bacteria, and improperly cooked toppings, especially chicken and sausage, can cause serious foodborne illness. Boston Pizza also has a troubling record with their pasta dishes. Multiple customers across Canada have reported finding foreign objects in their food. One diner in Calgary discovered a piece of blue plastic in their spaghetti. Another, in Toronto, found a hair tangled in their Alfredo sauce so thoroughly that they had to pull it out like dental floss. Then there's the fresh ingredients claim. Employees have admitted that most pasta dishes start with pre-cooked frozen pasta that gets reheated in boiling water. The sauces, they arrive in industrial plastic bags, get heated in hot water baths, and poured over your plate. One former manager said bluntly, "It's a microwave meal with plating. You're paying $18 for something you could make better at home with a $4 frozen dinner." The appetizers are no better. Those signature wings? They arrive frozen from a central supplier. The pierogi pizza that Canadians love? Pre-made pierogies from a factory, arranged on frozen dough. Even the nachos use pre-shredded cheese that arrives in massive bags and sits open in the walk-in cooler for days. A health inspection in Red Deer, Alberta, found that chicken wings were being thawed and refrozen multiple times, a practice that Health Canada explicitly prohibits due to bacterial growth risks. When confronted, the manager claimed it was a one-time mistake, but employees confirmed it happened regularly during inventory mix-ups. When you eat at Boston Pizza, you're not getting restaurant-quality food. You're getting reheated frozen meals served on plates, often by undertrained staff working in kitchens that can barely keep up with demand. That's not dining out. That's paying a premium for convenience you didn't ask for. Let's move to Swiss Chalet, the rotisserie chicken chain that's been a Canadian staple since 1954. That signature Chalet sauce? It's the only reason most people go. But behind the nostalgic branding lies a disturbing pattern of neglect. In 2022, a Swiss Chalet location in Mississauga was forced to close temporarily after customers reported severe food poisoning. Within 48 hours, over 30 people who ate at the restaurant contacted Peel Region Health with complaints of vomiting, diarrhea, and fever. Health inspectors traced the outbreak to improperly stored chicken that had been held at unsafe temperatures. The inspection revealed that the rotisserie chickens were being removed from heat and left sitting at room temperature for over 2 hours during slow periods to save energy. Staff would then reheat them when orders came in. That practice created the perfect breeding ground for bacteria like Salmonella and Campylobacter. One victim, a mother of 2 from Brampton, described the aftermath. "We ordered a family pack for Sunday dinner. By Monday morning, my entire family was sick. My youngest ended up in the hospital on an IV because she couldn't keep fluids down. We trusted Swiss Chalet. That trust almost cost us." Former employees have described Swiss Chalet kitchens as organized chaos. One worker from an Ottawa location said, "The rotisserie ovens would break down constantly. Instead of fixing them properly, we'd just cram more chickens into the working ones. They'd be packed so tight that some birds would be burnt on the outside and raw near the bone." Undercooked chicken is one of the most dangerous foods you can eat. Pink chicken near the bone isn't charming or juicy. It's potentially lethal. Then there's the famous Chalet sauce. For decades, customers believed it was made in-house from a secret recipe. Former workers have revealed the truth. It arrives in massive plastic bags from a central production facility, gets heated in hot water, and dispensed from pumps. One employee joked, "The secret recipe is opening the bag correctly." But even the sauce isn't safe. A Swiss chalet in Edmonton was cited by health inspectors for keeping sauce in dispensers that hadn't been cleaned in over 2 weeks. The inspection report noted, visible mold growth inside sauce dispensers. Equipment must be disassembled and sanitized immediately. The sides are equally questionable. Those fresh-cut fries? They arrive pre-cut and frozen from McCain Foods. The coleslaw? Pre-shredded cabbage mixed with pre-made dressing from a bucket. Even the seasonal vegetables are frozen mixed medleys that get microwaved and buttered. A particularly disturbing incident occurred when a customer in London, Ontario, bit into their chicken and found it was still frozen solid in the center. They posted a video showing the icy core, and the caption read, "Swiss Chalet served me chicken-flavored ice cream." The video went viral, but Swiss Chalet never responded publicly. When your signature product is rotisserie chicken, but you're holding it at unsafe temperatures, packing ovens beyond capacity, and serving it undercooked or frozen, you've betrayed the one thing your brand promised that sauce might taste good, but it can't mask negligence. Now for East Side Mario's, the Italian-American chain owned by Recipe Unlimited that promises bada bing, bada boom, energy, and unlimited soup and salad. But what they're really serving is a masterclass in food safety violations. In 2021, an East Side Mario's location in Hamilton was prosecuted after health inspectors discovered a cockroach infestation so severe that live roaches were spotted crawling across the salad bar during business hours. Multiple customers complained, forcing the health unit to conduct an unannounced inspection. What they found was shocking. Cockroaches in the bread basket storage area, roach droppings throughout the kitchen, evidence of infestation in the dry goods storage room, and dirty conditions throughout the restaurant that created ideal breeding grounds. The restaurant was closed immediately and didn't reopen for over 2 weeks. The franchise owner was fined $15,000 plus court costs. But here's the disturbing part. This location had received a passing grade in a routine inspection just 8 weeks earlier. Former employees have described the all-you-can-eat soup and salad as a bacteria buffet. One worker from a Toronto location said, "The soup sits in those warmers for hours. Sometimes all day. We're supposed to replace it every 4 hours, but when it's slow, management tells us to just keep adding new soup on top. The bottom layer could be from lunch service, and we're serving it at dinner. The salad bar is worse. Multiple employees have admitted that wilted lettuce gets refreshed by dunking it in ice water to make it look crisp again. Vegetables that should be thrown out get buried at the bottom of bins and fresh ones placed on top." One worker said, "If you knew how long some of that stuff sits there, you'd never touch the salad bar again." The pasta dishes are pure theater. Everything arrives frozen or pre-made. The homemade marinara sauce? It comes in 20-liter plastic tubs from Cisco the Meatballs, frozen, preformed, and reheated in the sauce. Even the garlic bread is par-baked, frozen, and finished in the oven. A customer in Barrie, Ontario, posted a photo of their fettuccine Alfredo that showed the sauce separated and curdled with an oily film across the top. The caption, "This is what $19 gets you at East Side Mario's. Looks like it was made 3 days ago and reheated in a dirty pot." Health inspections across multiple provinces have repeatedly cited East Side Mario's locations for improper food storage, inadequate cleaning of food contact surfaces, and employees failing to wash hands between tasks. One inspector in Saskatchewan noted, "Observed employee handle raw chicken, touch face, and then prepare salad without gloves or hand washing." When your restaurant has cockroaches in the salad bar, soup sitting for 8 hours, and pasta that tastes like it survived 3 reheating cycles, you're not serving Italian food, you're serving whatever corporate cost-cutting allows. Let's talk about Kelseys, another Recipe Unlimited brand that markets itself as a casual neighborhood grill. But behind the cheerful Roadhouse branding lies a pattern of dangerous shortcuts and deplorable conditions. In 2023, a Kelseys location in Brampton made headlines when health inspectors discovered raw sewage backing up into the kitchen during dinner service. Instead of closing immediately and alerting customers, management told staff to keep serving food while they monitored the situation. A whistleblower employee posted about it online. The floor drains were overflowing with sewage water. It was splashing onto prep surfaces. The smell was unbearable. But the manager said we couldn't close because it was Saturday night and we'd lose too much money. We kept cooking and serving for another 2 hours before the health inspector showed up because a customer called 311. The restaurant was shut down immediately and remained closed for 3 days while the sewage system was repaired and the entire kitchen sanitized. The franchise owner was fined $25,000. But the real crime is that dozens of customers ate food prepared in a kitchen with active sewage contamination. Former Kelseys employees describe kitchens that routinely violate basic food safety. One cook from a Mississauga location said, "We had a walk-in cooler that broke and stayed broken for 6 days. Management told us to just move the most important stuff to the other cooler and use the warm one first. So we were using ingredients stored at 15 degrees Celsius. That's dangerous." The burger situation is particularly concerning. Multiple workers have admitted that ground beef is often used past its expiration date. One employee explained the practice. "When beef is about to expire, we'd just mix it with fresh beef. Half old, half new. Management called it stretching inventory. I call it food poisoning waiting to happen." Kelseys' famous signature sauces aren't made in-house despite the menu's implication. They arrive in industrial containers from central suppliers. The only thing made fresh on site is the disappointment you feel when your $22 steak arrives gray, tough, and swimming in microwaved sauce. A health inspection in London, Ontario, found that Kelseys was storing raw chicken directly above ready-to-eat salads in the walk-in cooler, allowing chicken juices to drip onto food that would be served without further cooking. This type of cross-contamination can cause severe salmonella infections. Perhaps most disturbing is the ice machine scandal. A former employee posted photos from behind a Kelseys bar showing the interior of an ice machine coated in black mold and pink slime. The caption, "This is what's making the ice in your drink. Management knows. They just don't care enough to fix it." When you eat at Kelseys, you're gambling with every bite. Will your burger be made with expired meat? Will your salad have chicken juice dripped on it? Will your drink be cooled with ice from a mold-filled machine? These aren't hypotheticals. They're documented realities. Now for Montana's, the BBQ chain that promises smokehouse flavor in Texan-sized portions. But the only thing Texan-sized is the list of health violations and customer complaints. In 2022, a Montana's location in Surrey, British Columbia, was prosecuted after health inspectors found mouse droppings throughout the restaurant, including in the dry goods storage area, near the dishwashing station, and, most shockingly, inside a container of BBQ sauce that was actively being used. The inspection report noted, "Evidence of rodent activity is extensive and long-standing. Facility shows signs of inadequate pest control and poor sanitation practices." The restaurant was closed for 12 days and the franchise owner fined $18,000. But the rodent problem was just the tip of the iceberg. Former Montana's kitchen staff have described the BBQ process as complete fiction. One cook from a Calgary location revealed, "Nothing is actually smoked. The ribs arrive pre-cooked and frozen in bags of liquid smoke sauce. We heat them in boiling water, then char them on the grill for marks. That's it. The smokehouse is a lie. The brisket, pre-sliced and vacuum-sealed. The pulled pork arrives in plastic tubs, already shredded and sauced. Even the chicken wings are pre-cooked and frozen. Staff just fry them to reheat and crisp the skin. Temperature control is a recurring nightmare. Multiple employees have reported that during busy periods, meat sits at room temperature on prep stations for hours because there's no space in the coolers and no time to properly rotate stock. One employee from an Edmonton location said, "I've seen chicken sit out for 3 hours during a Saturday rush. When I told the manager, he said, 'It's going on the grill anyway. The heat will kill anything.'" That's not how food safety works. Bacteria can produce heat-resistant toxins that remain dangerous even after cooking. Improper holding temperatures can make you violently ill no matter how well the food is cooked afterward. Then there's the side dish disaster. That fresh coleslaw? It comes pre-made in giant buckets and sits open in the walk-in cooler for up to a week. The cornbread, frozen, reheated, brushed with butter-flavored oil. The seasonal vegetables? Frozen medley microwaved in butter sauce. A customer in Winnipeg posted a video of their Montana's ribs with the caption, "Paid $28 for ribs that taste like they were boiled in chemical smoke, then forgotten under a heat lamp." The video showed meat that was gray, dry, and falling apart in unappetizing chunks. Health inspections have repeatedly cited Montana's locations for employees not washing hands between tasks, dirty kitchen surfaces with grease buildup, and food stored at improper temperatures. One inspection in Ontario noted, "Multiple violations observed. Operator demonstrates lack of knowledge regarding food safety requirements." When your BBQ isn't smoked, your meat sits at dangerous temperatures, and mice are getting into the sauce, you're not eating authentic smokehouse food. You're eating frozen factory meals reheated by staff who aren't trained well enough to keep rodents out of the kitchen. Milestones sells itself as the upscale choice in the casual dining world. It's the place you go when you want something a step above pub food. A $40 steak, a seafood pasta, a cocktail that actually comes in glass instead of plastic. On the surface, it looks polished. But if you listen to what some former staff and diners say happened behind the scenes, the picture gets a lot less reassuring. Over the last few years, there have been multiple stories online from groups of diners who say they all got sick after sharing seafood dishes at Milestones. Think mussels, shrimp pastas, or mixed seafood plates. In at least one widely discussed case at a downtown Toronto location, several people in the same party reported classic shellfish-borne illness symptoms after a night out. We weren't able to independently verify exact numbers or trace a confirmed public health outbreak specifically to that restaurant. But those accounts line up with what food inspectors warn happens when seafood isn't kept cold enough or is served past its best. The theme gets darker when you listen to people who say they worked there. One former line cook from a Mississauga Milestones has claimed that they occasionally found bags of shrimp that were gray, slimy, and smelled like ammonia. A pretty obvious red flag. According to their account, a chef allegedly told them to rinse it really well and use it in the pasta. The sauce will cover it. We can't prove that exact conversation took place, and Milestones hasn't publicly addressed that specific allegation. But if anything like that did happen, it would be a textbook example of choosing cost savings over basic food safety. Even when nothing is technically spoiled, a lot of what looks handcrafted on the plate isn't as fresh as it appears. Former servers and kitchen staff say that much of the menu is par-cooked or frozen, salmon that arrives frozen and gets thawed and grilled, risotto that's pre-cooked and reheated to order, fresh herbs that are chopped in bulk and sit in containers for days. That doesn't automatically make the food unsafe, but it does mean you might be paying premium prices for something that was closer to factory prep than the menu suggests. There's also a quieter risk that most guests never think about: mechanically tenderized steaks. Multiple ex-employees report that steaks at some locations are run through a tenderizer so they're softer and more consistent. Food safety agencies warn that this process can push surface bacteria deeper into the meat, which is why they recommend cooking tenderized beef to at least medium. If a steak like that is served rare or medium rare and the inside doesn't get hot enough, there's a theoretical risk that harmful bacteria could survive in the center. Milestones doesn't advertise which cuts are tenderized, so customers can't really make an informed choice about doneness. To be clear, we're not saying every Milestones location is a disaster, or that every seafood dish or steak is a trip to the hospital waiting to happen. But when you add up the online illness reports, the former staff stories about sketchy seafood calls and pre-prepped premium dishes, and the general risks that come with the tenderized beef, It paints a picture that's very different from the glossy images on the menu. For a place that charges upscale prices, you might reasonably expect a more cautious approach to food safety than what some insiders describe. So, where can you safely eat out in Canada? Based on recent health inspection records and food safety practices, your best options are smaller independent restaurants with open kitchens, chains with transparent sourcing like Farmer or Freshie for fast, casual, higher-end establishments where margins allow proper staffing and training, and restaurants with recent health inspection scores posted publicly. Yes, you'll pay more at quality establishments, but you're getting food prepared safely by properly trained staff who aren't cutting corners to meet corporate cost targets. The truth is simple. These 7 chains survive not on quality, but on brand recognition, convenient locations, and prices that seem reasonable until you factor in the real cost to your health. Which restaurant shocked you most? Have you experienced food poisoning or found something disturbing in your meal at any of these chains? Drop your story in the comments. Other Canadians need to know what you've witnessed. Knowledge is power. Now you know which restaurants to avoid and what warning signs to watch for. Trust your instincts. If something looks off, smells wrong, or tastes strange, stop eating immediately. Your health is worth more than convenience. If this investigation opened your eyes, hit that like button and subscribe for more Canadian consumer investigations. We're just getting started exposing what really happens behind kitchen doors.